All righty. We're trying something a little bit different today. I did a little bit of quick prepping for this live, and it's going to be on a topic that normally I don't really cover on my channel, but it's something in the background that I pay very close attention to. And with the recent jump in popularity of some of the weather YouTube channels like Reed and many of the storm chasers, basically, I've noticed a very common repeating pattern with these guys. And I'm even a member on Reed's channel. Nobody really wants to talk about weather modification and its role in the strange weather patterns and things we're seeing probably over the past maybe say 15 years. Years ago, I liked to talk about this topic a lot. It didn't really go over well. Many times I got called crazy by my own family or even by people in the military that I would have conversations with that basically was making it up. So here's a little research I pulled up. So we're going to start with ground-based cloud seeding. This is actual technology that you can purchase yourself. It is publicly available. Quick Google search. You could go to weathermodification.com. The current part of that I'm on is weathermodification.com/cloud-seeding-ground.php. Solutions for the ground. There are times when it's beneficial to seed from the ground. For example, ground seeding is an excellent option for the treatment of low-level clouds over complex terrain. We'll read a little bit into this. Exclusive ground seeding solutions from Weather Modification Inc. Weather Modification Inc. offers specially designed and manufactured solutions to meet the specific challenges of ground-based cloud seeding. Both incorporate the latest in-ground-based pyrotechnic applications and are self-contained. When controlled via satellite, they can be sited virtually anywhere. When weather at the seeding location is critical, complex meteorological stations can be co-located with both fixed and mobile ground-based units. All right, that is for their ground-based technology that they have. You can basically, if this is available for the public, you can just imagine on a grander scale what the government and scientific research facilities have access to. And here's the thing with this technology. They've been experimenting with the weather. You probably could say from since the 40s and 50s, but I would venture to say much earlier than that with the burning of specific chemicals and higher altitude mountains. This is stuff that even could possibly be linked back to some of the older civilizations and smokestacks and things you see that don't make a lot of sense um, in old ruins and whatnot. But anyways, so then we're going to go to the ground. That was ground based. We're going to go to aerial based. Aerial based seeding is a process of delivering a seeding agent by aircraft, either at the cloud base or cloud top. Top seeding allows for direct injection of the seeding agent into the supercooled cloud top. Base seeding is the release of seeding agent in the updraft of a cloud base. Why I think this is important is because with the popularity of people watching all these storms and chasing these weird weather patterns, I've noticed every time I've talked about man-made weather or anything like that in the chat, nobody acknowledges it, or I start getting the loopy comments. This guy's off his rocker. So we're going to go to Weather Modification Project Report. This is library.noaa.gov. Collections, digital collections, Weather Modification Project Reports. There are hundreds of pages. I'll just start with, let's go to the first page. Atla Alta Snowbird. This was in 2000. Project number 031206. This was performed in October 15th, 2003 to December 24th, 2003. This was a augmented snowpack. All right. Abajo Mountains of southeastern Utah. Project number 13-1583. This was December 15th, 2012 to 4/15/2013 augment snowpack. We'll skip to, let's say, page 10. DWD Upper Arc Program. Project number 05-1259. This was November 1st, 2004 to March 31st, 2005. Snowpack precipitation augmentation. You go to the library.noaa.gov. All this stuff is literally, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of these projects that have been being performed above us and around us at all times. Why I think it's important, we need to start talking about this stuff, because I'm going to go to a report written in 2005. This is govinfo.gov. Let's go back to the top so we can get what the actual title. This is for a hearing on weather modification, the Weather Modification Research and Technology Transfer Authorization Act of 2005. Let's scroll down a little bit. And in this, I'm going to kind of go over some concerns that this person was kind of proposing and why this stuff needs to be talked about in the mainstream and discussed with everyone, because this affects everyone. It affects what's in our water, it affects what's in our air, it affects the quality of life we live, our plants, our crops. And I'm just passionate about the fact that we just need to be openly talking about these types of experiments and projects, because the adverse effects of, let's just say, some maybe cloud seeding project in California combining with a cloud seeding project in maybe Colorado as the weather moves to the east. You know what I'm saying? We've got all these terrible storms that are popping off over here. There's a direct correlation to these projects that are being performed by our governments locally and federally, and the natural weather patterns combining and causing a lot of devastation, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, ruining people's homes, ruining people's lives, stuff that they're just basically the after effects of these projects being performed. I'm not a scientist, but I literally watch the sky. You can go scour YouTube and find hundreds of time-lapse videos of these trails being laid in the sky and the complete cloud blanketing that occurs from it. I don't know why people don't want to talk about weather modification, why they don't want to address the subject, if it's something that's being silenced on purpose. I know there's some other content creators that have touched on it. There's some content creators that show satellite mapping of the cloud seeding that's done. One recently died, Mike Morales. I think he died of cancer. Yeah, so there's not a lot of people talking about this. And what I would like to get to the bottom of is just create some type of open dialogue where people are actually addressing what's going on around us and our hand in the weather and these crazy storms and devastating storms that are tearing people's lives up. It's changing their lives forever. And I personally believe that we play a part in that. They've been weather modifying for many reasons for many, many, many years. And I just don't understand why anytime anyone wants to talk about it, they get classified into the crazy pool. I mean, I'm going to go back to the article. I was interested to learn that recently the National Research Council of National Academies, the nation's leading scientific body, raised some concerns about the efficacy of weather modification research. Because of the importance of this issue, I'm looking forward to Dr. Gar Stang's comments this afternoon and his assessment of the state of science surrounding weather modification research. It's entirely possible that at some point in the future, weather modification technologies might be viable. I continue to be impressed by the progress of all kinds of American innovations. At some point, this committee may get to the point where it is considering the complex legal, social, and political issues surrounding whether or not the nation should support a regimen of weather modifications, but I'm aware there are serious concerns about pursuing a regimen of international weather modification and want to give those concerns careful consideration. I'm also concerned that as a nation, we do not have sufficient understanding of how our atmosphere behaves. It seems that this may be a concern shared by the Academy. Noting some of the findings in their recent report, I think this committee should give thoughtful consideration to their principal conclusion, which stated that atmospheric science is now in a position to mount a concerted and sustained effort to delineate the scope of expectations of future weather modification research. Such an effort must be directed at answering fundamental scientific questions that will yield results that will go well beyond application to international modification. The emphasis must be on understanding processes and not on modification. I think, in other words, I believe what I'm hearing them saying is that we need to understand how weather works now before we go way too far in trying to modify it. Now, this was wrote in 2005. What happened after this conversation, after these hearings and committees? We don't know because they don't talk about it. They do not talk about this stuff whatsoever in the mainstream news. They would rather tell you what outfit Cardi B wore today, or what black guy Kim Kardashian is ruining, his life at this point in her um, idolatry career, or whatever you want to call it, the vanity lifestyle, uh, or what school shooting happened, or what other divisive topic they can pump down your throat. Just a bunch of garbage, man. So you got to go sift through. This is just for people, and many of you are very close to me. You know who you are. You don't believe that weather modification is possible. You don't believe that we're doing it. You don't believe that, you think weather is all God, and it's not. It's really not. So I recommend you go do a little research into some of these devices you can purchase. You can put them in your backyard. You can mount them to your plane. Um, these are all available to you as a public. Now, like I said, just imagine on the scale of what this stuff is in the commercial and government side of things. You know what I mean? That this the stuff, there needs to be public committees, public hearings, and the conversations need to be, because what you're doing on the West Coast can completely have an adverse reaction on the East Coast, Central, Midwest, whatever. You guys have seen the crazy storms and tornadoes and stuff that's going on. These crazy hailstorms and stuff. If you go do a little research yourself, you will find that it's mostly man manipulated, man's hand in it. That's all. That's the only conclusion I can come to. I remember what regular skies look like, and then I see what man-made skies look like, and I get whatever they're trying to do, block out the sun. I don't know, increase rainfall for areas that are being affected with drought, but like, is the after effects of maybe metals in your water or your air quality going down, or possibly even having adverse reactions, I mean, melting poles, I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about HARP. That's a whole nother technology that is clearly proven to be true. Nobody wants to talk about it at all. We've got multiple facilities all over the world working in sync, and in my personal opinion, these technologies have the ability to do far more than most people even have the capacity to understand. Even Doppler, all these different radar systems. I mean, these aren't just receivers, they're transmitters too. Anyways, I hope some of you go do a little research, because the weather matters, and what we're doing in our skies matters. It matters for the plants, it matters for the animals, it matters for the people living on this earth. It matters for our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids. And yeah, we're trying to make this place better, not worse. And it just seems to increasingly get worse on a daily basis. So this is my little practice live stream about weather modification. It's kind of an intro dive into it. And I mean, this is proven technology. I don't care what you say in the comments. You can deny it all you want. This is all government websites I'm looking at. This is open to the public. This is just the stuff we have access to. After that, you can go do your own research, and try to differentiate the truth from the bullshit. But anyways, have a great day.